website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey, cool question. Why do we use fretboard shapes when we're talking scales? Why would we learn cage shapes or 3-note per string shapes? And why do we have all that? We don't have that on a saxophone or a piano or, maybe to some degree on a violin. But every other instrument, they just learn the notes of the instrument. How do you produce the notes? And then you learn what notes, a C major scale is made up of or a B flat major scale. And then they play those notes. So if you have to do the same thing on a guitar fretboard, you would just learn the notes on the fretboard, and then I would tell you, oh, this is the scale of X, and then you would play it wherever you were. And some jazz players are taught in that way, and it was always so mind-boggling. I was so mystified by this for such a long time, that you're actually playing an instrument that looks very little like any other instrument. And here's why. On a guitar, you can play the same note in multiple places. That's why we have tabs, because when you write something down on notes, it only tells you exactly what notes to play. But since you can play the same note in multiple places on a guitar, you don't know where to play it. So if you want to tell somebody how to play something with accuracy, you have to use tabs as well as, So, and that's because the guitar is special. If you want to learn to play jazz on a piano, you have the same octave, identical octave of notes all the way up. So if you learn every scale and every arpeggio in one octave, then you have mastery over all the octaves. If you learn all the scales and arpeggios in one position on the guitar, it looks completely different when you move it up and play, in a different octave. So we have a huge disadvantage on this instrument compared to other instruments. But if you teach it like it was a saxophone, here are the notes, learn the notes on the fretboard, go ahead and play this scale, then play this scale. Where? How? Right? Should I play it down here? Up here? And what if I want it's a completely different experience. And so we have disadvantages, but we also have some huge advantages. Which is, first of all, it's the most amazing instrument on the planet, in my perspective. And if you look at all the sounds we can make with it, how dynamic it is, we can influence the note, we can play chords, and we can influence each note that we play with pinch harmonics and the picking and the noises, right? On a piano, you can say bing loud or bing not so loud. That's what you can do. And so we have so much going for us, such an amazing instrument, but we also have that special challenge. But let's say I taught you the notes on the fretboard, or you already know them, and then I gave you a scale to practice, and you practice that scale across the fretboard in whatever way you chose. I can guarantee you that in your mind, if you practiced it enough, would start to appear visual scale shapes. Simply because that's what happens. Why? Because it's a much faster way of identifying what notes to play than the conceptual, oh, here are the notes, now let me play the notes of that scale. And the same thing goes for the piano, that you can't, let's say you're playing a scale, at that tempo, how can you think about notes? It's impossible. You can't go A, B, C, D, E. It doesn't happen that way. Your brain simply can't. It becomes a movement. It becomes a visual thing. It becomes a feeling. It becomes a habit, basically, of movement, any scale. But on the guitar, it first becomes something visual, and then it becomes like a muscular thing. When I play, it's too fast to even be only visual, and it is for all players, also slow players. I'm not thinking about anything, any notes, any scale shapes. I can see the scale shapes I'm playing in if I want to, but it's a habit, right? It's specific little, very detailed habits across the fretboard. So This is also something that's in Fretboard Freedom. What is the actual process with which you learn fretboard shapes, and how do you use them? Another thing in the comment was also, okay, so we learn scale shapes, and then we just learn to go bing, 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 like playing the black keys on a piano, and then it sounds like the pentatonic scale, and then we can just do stupid music. It's nothing like that. It's a tool to get to the final level, where the tools are no longer a conscious process of. It's like driving a car, again, the same analogy, where you, in the beginning, you think about everything you do, and then gradually it becomes unconscious completely, and then you can just focus on the driving as such, of where you want to go. The same thing goes here. The tools become unconscious, and then you're just in that, where am I going? And it becomes like talking. I'm talking now. I'm not pre-thinking or pre-talking what I say in my head. It's an instantaneous process. And the same thing goes here. So it doesn't matter if you use notes or shapes or whatever you do, whatever is your favorite tool, doesn't matter. It's just about what's the fastest way. And on the guitar, we have a huge advantage because we can visualize anything on our grid here. You can't do that on a saxophone, even though patterns emerge, visual patterns emerge, even for the saxophone player, when he practices scales. But so use the advantages, because you got a couple of disadvantages of playing the guitar. So why not use the advantages of the visual shapes? It all brings you to the same point of unconscious competence of doing something that is no longer demanding of effort. So you can actually play music.
Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.